Yeah, my name is Aliyu Abbati Abdulhameed, MNI, the CEO of a rather new company, the Defense Agricultural Assets and Projects Development Company. A short while ago, when the Vice President was making his speech, he did scan the investable environment in the Niger Delta within the context of agriculture. He did mention the opportunities in mariculture, basically marine economy. And he did mention a lot of fisheries products that can be harnessed within the Niger Delta area. So this is a huge area. It's an aspect of agriculture that has to do with the marine economy. And this is a very high potential investable area. As you know, Nigeria imports huge quantities in millions of dollars of ocean products, fisheries, and other related products. So the Niger Delta will be the ideal breadbasket when it comes to blue economy fisheries products to do import substitution for what we import, and that preserves our foreign exchange, and that gives us the opportunity to have an inbuilt capacity to satisfy our marine and fishery needs in Nigeria. The purpose of today's Agriculture and Investment Summit for the Niger Delta is essentially on how to leverage existing capital sources, financing sources, be able to align them to the agriculture investment opportunities in the Niger Delta. Now, so you have funds. It is not for lack of funds, but you need investable projects that are de-risked, that can absorb those funding and create value. These kind of investments are very risk averse, in the sense that projects have to be able to be risk managed, they have to be able to create value, they have to be able to generate profit, and they have to be able to meet their triple bottom lines of profit, people, and the environment. Now, when it comes to the youth in the Niger Delta, individually and on their own in a disaggregated manner, it's difficult to finance them. But what can be done is to bring them into what I would call contract outgrower geo-cooperatives for specific commodities that is market demanded. When they come together, when you aggregate little enterprises or projects that ordinarily are not financeable because they are too small scale, once you bring them together and you create a cooperative out of them, it enables you to deploy capital at scale. You can deploy equipment at scale, you can deploy finance at scale, and you can easily risk manage. But the critical thing is that disaggregated smallholder agricultural enterprises cannot survive when you are looking for investment sources. So youth in the Niger Delta have to be able to be helped. The Niger Delta can help principally coordinating and bringing the youth agribusiness. Those that are going to do particular aspects of the value chain of any aspect can be brought together. For example, those that can do production, for example, fisheries production, whether it's capture fisheries or floating cages in the creeks of the Niger Delta, you can disaggregate the producers from those that will come together to produce the feed, and those that will do the processing, and those that will do the farming. So you allow each segment of the value chain to specialize, and then you can then create a business plan for those segments. Those segments will have different youths that are specialized along that value chain that are doing different aspects. But when you look at it at the 40,000 feet level, you realize the entire value chain has been integrated. You have different segments of that value chain being actively engaged by youths that specialize in those aspects. If you don't do that and you allow pre-production, production, processing, marketing, and sales within one group of entity, you will not get clarity. So you need to spread the youth for any particular commodity along the value chain and train them for those aspects of the value chain that they specialize in. That is the pull and the push factor. So if producers produce, the off-takers and processors of those products in the Nigeria can then provide the pull factor process. Then there are those that will do the value addition with packaging and branding that can push to market. And there are those that will then be positioned in the wholesale and retail markets to aid the pull factor. So it has to be a value chain logic. It has to have specialization along the value chain, and you have to pick a commodity that is demanded by the market, whether domestic market or international markets. When you have that kind of structure, organized, cooperated youth along the value chain, and you have got your off-take agreements with structured markets, it's very easy for the kind of development funding or the investment funding that this summit is talking about today for it to be deployed. If you don't create investable project destination, it's difficult, even if you have the fund, for that fund to go into those projects.